right, Claire, it is 12:02. And for all of our attendees joining us today, we're going to officially get started here. I'm going to pass it over to Claire in just a second. Today is being recorded. So if for some reason you have to drop at any point, know that this is going to be made available in about 1 month through the NCW Tech website and YouTube that you'll be able to rewatch. And we'll also be sending out slides and notes following today's presentation. So Claire, if you want to get us started.
Perfect. Well, welcome everyone. My name's Claire Odie. I'm with the Community Foundation of North Central Washington. Many of you joining us today are probably familiar with one of our longtime programs, the Nonprofit Practices Institute, or NPI for short. And this is a partnership between the Community Foundation and Icicle Fund to bring high quality, low cost professional development opportunities for nonprofit leaders in North Central Washington. And so NPI is super excited to be working with the NCW Tech Alliance. This is a new partnership. They will be hosting quarterly tech talks for nonprofits. So this is kind of, our first one in what we hope to be a long-time series. And our plan is to do these webinars over the lunch hour just like this and bring in different content experts who can present on various tech topics for maybe 30 or 45 minutes, and then the rest of the hour will be dedicated to Q&A. Some of you might have attended, we did kind of IT roundtables, sort of similar to this back in 2022 with Martin Straub from Simple Power IT. He'll be joining us again as a moderator for these tech talks, which is really exciting. But we need your help to figure out what topics would be most valuable to you and your organizations. So we put together a really quick and easy poll. I'm going to drop that into the chat at the end of our session, and it will ask you just to rank some of your favorite topics that will help us craft a plan for the year. So thank you again so much for being here. Thank you so much to the Tech Alliance for hosting today. And with that, I'll hand it over to the Tech Alliance team.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Claire. All right, I'll do a check-in with David. Maybe do we see my screen?
Yep, we are good to go. It looks like.
Excellent. Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jenny Rojanasatian, and I am the Executive Director of NCW Tech Alliance. We're so excited about this quarterly offering with the Community Foundation of North Central Washington. I know you're here to learn all about ChatGPT, but first I want to give you a very high-level look at NCW Tech. We are a 501c3 that connects people and technology resources together. We host over 45 events, programs, and resources per year in technology, entrepreneurship, and STEM education. And we want to invite you to join us as a member and attendee and to get involved with our organization's offerings. We have a small but mighty team. I'm the executive director. We have Sarah Stanford, who's our operations manager, and David Mabey, who is my co-host today as our marketing director for this Tech Talk event. We have a huge month coming up in September, so I would be remiss if I did not share that September is Digital Equity Month. And under the NCW Tech Help brand, we're going to be hosting digital navigator trainings, Tech Help pop-up events, releasing a ton of resources and services. So I invite you to learn more at ncwtech.org/Tech Help and help share those out across your nonprofits. So we're here today for ChatGPT. We're hoping to have a few minutes at the end of today's presentation for questions. Please use the Q&A feature in Zoom to put in your question. If we're not able to get to questions at the end, we will record all of them and send them out as a follow-up, along with a survey that Claire mentioned about upcoming events and what topics are most relevant to you. What is ChatGPT? ChatGPT is a conversational agent based on the generative pre-trained transformer architecture. GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer, which is a type of machine learning model for natural language understanding and generation. Chat refers to its application in a conversational text, meaning it can generate human-like text based on the input it received. The model is trained on large data set that includes part of the internet, books, Wikipedia, and other text sources. It learns to predict the next word in a sentence by analyzing the words that came before it. After training, the model can generate text that is coherent and contextually relevant often mimicking the style and tone of the input text. While ChatGPT can produce information in coherent text, it lacks true understanding or consciousness. So it's not a tool for expert advice or judgment. ChatGPT was released by OpenAI on November 30th, 2022, and immediately it exploded across the marketplace and the news. ChatGPT acquired over 1 million users in just 5 days of launching in November and hit over 100 million active users in January 2023. This made it the fastest growing application in history until Threads, which just came online July of this year, took down its crown. To give you some comparison to the other popular technology platforms, it took Instagram approximately 2.5 months to reach 1 million downloads, whereas Netflix had to wait around 3.5 years to reach 1 million users. So it's a really fast growing adoption across the country and the world. So who's using ChatGPT? According to YouGov, 17% of 30 to 44-year-olds have used ChatGPT, 15% of 18 to 29-year-olds, whereas only 9% of those in the age group 45 to 64, and only 5% of those who are 65 plus have used ChatGPT. Although a lot of people have been made aware of it because of the news and popularity. You'll see another name associated with ChatGPT, and that is the company that founded the technology. OpenAI was founded in 2015 as a research laboratory consisting of a nonprofit and a for-profit subsidiary. Microsoft invested $1 billion in 2019 into OpenAI, and then quickly made another huge investment of $10 billion this year. So what can you use ChatGPT for? It's a versatile tool that can be used for very many purposes, but here are some common uses. Information gathering. You can ask ChatGPT questions to get quick answers or explanations on a wide range of topics. For content creation, it can assist in writing articles, blog posts, or other textual content, even generating ideas and full drafts. For programming, it can actually offer coding tips, debug code, and explain algorithms, although it's not a substitute for full-on validation of code. Learning and education, it can be used as a supplemental tool for learning new subjects by offering explanations, summarizations, or answering questions. For entertainment, many people have used it for things such as writing poetry, sending out personal invites, or generating jokes. And business, and for today, nonprofit use, can help you draft emails, create presentation, and automate customer service functions. So how do you create an account? Well, one, ChatGPT 3.5, that's the version that was released in 2022, is free. There's ChatGPT 4, which is what NCW Tech Alliance uses, which is $20 a month. And in a minute, we're gonna go live into some other functions, but you're gonna see that NCW Tech Alliance, we opted to do one general account with OpenAI, as we only have 3 members of the team. OpenAI and ChatGPT saves all the data and searches that we're doing, so we use it as a way to share and pull resources. But of course, each organizational structure is gonna function differently. David, is it now showing the OpenAI?
Yep.
Perfect. So to create an account, all you do is go to chat.openai.com. And you can see here, it's giving us some live examples of what you can use ChatGPT for. Write a thank you note to your babysitter. Write a thank you note to your interviewer. It's generating tons of content and resource, but today we're going to dive into how we're using it at NCW Tech Alliance for our nonprofit communications. And with that, I am going to pass it over to our marketing director, David Mabey.
Let's talk about chat. Okay, so some ways that NCW Tech Alliance is using it. So we're a small team. There'll be days where we have to write a press release, get 5 social media posts out, newsletter, just the list goes on and on and on. So we use it to help with press releases, social media posts and campaigns, e-newsletters, event details, intro scripts for our weekly TV shows, and then questions for our guests. sorting list, and really so much more. So we're going to get in. I'm going to share my screen real quick here. In this example, we're going to describe kind of what our nonprofit does. And what I've done is just pulled from our About section what our organization is about. And I'm going to run through a press release, social media, grant proposal. We'll do a poem, and then a social media campaign. And then we'll do a sorting example as well. So you ready for me to share my screen, Jenny?
It's all yours. Green light.
Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I've already have this kind of written here so I don't have to fumble through typing it out. Can you write me a press release about what our nonprofit does based off the following information? And again, this information here is what I've pulled from our About off our website. So I'm in a new chat, and if you look off to the left, it says new chat, and then below it, you've seen kind of what we've done today and then yesterday. So those are our histories of all the chats we've done. So you want to be in a new chat when you do this, because otherwise it'll pull information from a chat that you've previously done. So I just hit that for immediate release, empowering innovation and growth. It's giving me all the information here. Over the past 2 decades, NCW Tech has played a pivotal role. It's giving me information there. It's going to say website URL, throw in your contact information. But as you can see, as I'm scrolling up, it's giving you a real nice template to begin with if you have writer's block or if you don't have a whole lot of time to get it done. And then what I would do is I would take that and go get some quotes from Jenny or anybody else we're working with, throw some personalized quotes in there, go through the information, and then tweak it to make it more personal and to the tone of our organization. And then from there, we're going to want to get into some social media, right? So we've got the press release out, we're rolling along, and we're going to want to get into some social media. So I'm going to say, and this is all in the same thread, so now it's going to pull from the information above there. So I'm saying, give me 5 engaging social media posts that describe what we do. And it's going to just start knocking out these posts here. So post 1, join us in fueling innovation. You can see each one's going to start a little different, celebrating 20+ years of tech-driven impact, igniting curiosity. And if you're new to ChatGPT and then you're going to just start using it from your organization, ChatGPT, when you say social media, is going to throw a lot of emojis in there. So if you just come out the gate and start using this with your nonprofit, it's going to throw a lot of emojis in there. And if you just go from that day one right out, it's going to look, people are going to know you're using ChatGPT. So what you're going to want to do is you can either throw it in there and take out some of the emojis and just use them sparsely, or you can say, can you take out the emojis? And it says, of course, let's take out the emojis. So there's those 5 same social posts with no emojis. And you can see it's giving you some hashtags to use based off of what it thinks it should use. Now, naturally, you're going to probably have a set of hashtags that you want to be coherent and use in every single post. So you're going to want to tweak those for what you're working on. So then we're going, and let's say this is just a hypothetical, but we're going to go to a grant. And I'm going to say, so we're applying for a grant with the Chelan County PUD to bring computers to the community. Can you explain what we do for a grant proposal to the PUD? So take this information that is above and create a grant proposal for us. So grant proposal, it's starting to spit out objectives, and it's going to just print project details, computer distribution. It's giving you digital literacy workshops. It's going to talk about your budget, and obviously you're going to have to put numbers in there for that, and then give you a conclusion. And then say you don't like the tone of how that's going. So one of the fun things you can do here, we'll just change this one real quick to broski. It's throwing this in weird spots here for me. So it's going to use that same thing. Since I just told it to do a proposal, it's still going to go for proposal, because I'm going to say just change the tone to broski. And then it's like, yo, check it. Our mission, broski, computer access for all. And you can see that it's not all business. Tech is about connecting. Our blueprint, broski. It's changing it, so you can change that to like any kind of different tone you want. That one's a little silly, so maybe you want it to be a little more professional. So maybe I say, can you change it so it's like the President of the United States is reading it? So the prompt is, can you change the tone as if it were the President of the United States reading it? And it's you can see it's instantly creating this grant proposal, nurturing education, fostering workforce preparedness, deployment of computers. Ladies and gentlemen, let us seize this opportunity to collaborate. So it's changing those keywords that were the broski ones now to more type of language you'd find if you were talking to the president. And then some fun things you can do. The sky's the limit of what you can do here. But let's say we want a poem about how awesome we are. So can you write me a poem about how awesome we are? And again, it's taking all the information in this thread. So we talk about the Tech Alliance. So it's going to start, here we go. And it just spits out a poem, a really long one. In the heart of innovation's glow, a beacon of progress we proudly show. NCW Tech, a name that rings. And it goes on and on. So that's a little long. Sometimes it can get a little long-winded with ChatGPT. So you just got to kind of figure out what works for you. So I'm going to say, okay, well, that's good. But can you make it shorter and maybe a little more fun? And there it goes. In the realm of innovation, we take our flight. NCW Tech, shining pure dynamite. With fibers and codes, we pave the way. 2 decades strong, no night or day. And it just makes it a little shorter and gives me something a little funner than what we had there before. So you can ask it to, check for grammar and spelling mistakes and all sorts of different things. But let's say, we're getting going with this and we have this project due and we're kind of struggling on what we should do. So I'm going to say, hey, create a 3-month social media campaign calendar for our digital equity plan with a goal to have people sign up to become digital navigators, and then mention the channels we should focus on. And it's going to just start rolling here. 3 months digital equity plan, social media campaign calendar. Month 1, raise awareness and excitement. It's breaking it down week by week of what we should do, the channels that we should be on. Week 9, announce the successful completion of the signed up period. Thank everyone. Week 10, week 11, it's telling you post 21, how many posts you should do. So it's up to 23 posts there. Then it says this 3-month social media campaign calendar will help raise awareness, showcase the significance of digital navigators, and ultimately encourage signups. So it's basically giving you that. And then you're going to want to tailor these posts to fit the actual needs of your organizations and the tone of everything you want to do. So another thing that we use it here for is I'm going to have to start a new chat because we're going to want to sort some data. And so I've got this data over here. And what I'm going to do is throw the data into here and then give it a couple spaces. And I'm going to say, can you organize this information? Can you organize the above list by age range, then first name, and exclude the rest of the information and see what it does? So it's generating and it doesn't always work. So there we go. So certainly here's the list by age range and then first name. So we had a bunch of, if you look over here, we have a bunch of age ranges. The first name, city, town, postal, zip code, all that different information. ChatGPT has broken it down by the first name, as I asked it to, and then by the ages of those people, so you can break that list down. So you could do that by city or town, first name, last name. You can dedupe stuff. It makes it really easy in those different scenarios. And that's really it on what I have here. So I'm going to stop presenting here. And I'm going to throw it back to Jenny to finish off the presentation.
Fantastic job, David. Thank you so much for illustrating just a couple of the ways that you can use ChatGPT to create some communication strategy, sort data, and more. We've got just a few more slides before we head over into Q&A. So I will go back to sharing my screen here. I want to touch a little bit on cautionary tales. There's of course a lot of great ways to use ChatGPT, but it's important that you go into it responsibly. These are a few headlines about ChatGPT over the last 6 months, including the fact that an attorney didn't realize that ChatGPT can create fake content. And so he cited court cases in a real life lawsuit. Obviously, he's getting in big trouble for himself and for his client. Educators have really struggled. How do they allow or not allow the use of ChatGPT for the classroom or assignments? And today's webinar is not going into that piece, but I just want to make it aware that's a big topic, as well as, of course, the prevalence of fake news and how ChatGPT, just like David illustrated, can create a press release on anything with just putting in some basic content. So a word of advice. It's going to generate responses based on patterns in the data it was trained on, but it doesn't know anything in the way a human does. Use ChatGPT as a tool for generating text based on data that you put in, but not as a substitute for expert advice or judgment. It's always important to remember that responsible adoption of technology requires informed, careful, and strategic thought to ensure it's being used to enhance our humanity and enable people to do the kinds of relational, empathetic, and problem-solving activities we do best, including all of us in nonprofits. It is, we still have a few minutes left. So I want to, before we head over to questions, I just want to thank you for your time and attention. This is, as Claire said, the first of several series where we're going to bring some technology topics in a short modified framework to give you some education. We're going to send out the slide deck to all registered participants, as well as some helpful commands for ChatGPT that you can use. And so there have been a few questions in the Q&A. So now we will head over to those. All right, David, you and I will just kind of work on tackling these together. All right, Susan asked, are there copyright issues? Hasn't it taken information from other sources, and should it be credited? That is a great question, Susan. I know that there's a couple of lawsuits in the news regarding ChatGPT and OpenAI taking books from authors and then learning from their tone, their experience, and building that into their model. I can't speak onto the legality or ethics of how you should or shouldn't source the information, but it's certainly something to be aware of. This wasn't in your question, but I want to add on that too. OpenAI is open source information. So you'll see that the data David put into ChatGPT to sort for NCW Tech Alliance didn't contain any personal or proprietary data. It had a first name, a location, and a zip code and age. So we took data that had someone's last name, their actual address and information, and just took it down to a nondescript so that we could see themes in the data. But when you put information into OpenAI, that could not be protected. So you wouldn't want to put anything proprietary in there or something that you would feel unsecured. There are news coming out that OpenAI and ChatGPT is working on a model where your data would be more protected, but it's something that you're going to want to look out for. David, do you want to answer the question about tone from Zane and Sean?
Yeah, tone, you can put in basically whatever you think of, like 18th century poet, or I'm pretty sure it doesn't really matter. Broski and presidential were just the two I used for this campaign. I've used a couple of different other ones. So I think sky's the limit. I don't know. I'm still learning this every day. And I'd also suggest that if you're not getting, sometimes you'll put in information and it's not giving you quite what you want. So it's just changing the script to figure out the best way. And then sometimes I take multiple responses and thread together something and use my own as well. So still learning it as I go. No real clear answer there, but I don't think I think tone, you could ask whatever you want.
And I'll add on to that question to say, I've been using ChatGPT to help with my emails to sponsors and donors, but I still write out my basic outline of that email. And then I ask ChatGPT to improve it, maybe to make it more succinct or to summarize the information. When you're communicating with other human beings, especially donors in the nonprofit world, it's really important that your voice stays true to you and authentic. I think people can easily see when your email tone has shifted or changed. So that's something that you want to be aware of as you use it as a tool to make it easier.
I can
Susan,
answer.
Oh.
I was Angie just asked too, and that ChatGPT prompts and resources for this training right here. We're going to send out a link from, I can't remember which website, but there's 190 ChatGPT responses and prompts and things like that as a resource. And there's a whole bunch of other out there as well. So we'll send you that link, but then you can just Google prompts, and there's a whole bunch of useful stuff out there for that.
David, you also want to touch on, is it worth it to have that $20 version a month?
Yeah, so 3.5, the free version, you only get so many questions or responses. I think it's per hour. So with a team of 3, we can, if we're all working, we noticed it starts throttling it back, and then it'll pause and it won't answer as fast, or it'll tell you have to wait. So with version 4, the $20 a month, it's basically not throttled, and you can ask away all day. And I mean, all 3 of us have been on there, and I don't think we've ever seen a problem since we've gone to the paid version.
Okay, looks like there's 2 questions there about the paid versus free. And a great way to start is to just do the free version. You can always upgrade. So we started with the 3.5, found that we were using it regularly enough. And then again, we increased that to the $20 a month, and then we're sharing it across our team. And so far we haven't run into any issues with there being the 3 of us that tap into that same account. Looks like we have time for just one more question on here. Jamie asked, do you have a policy at NCW Tech Alliance around acknowledging the use of ChatGPT and documents you create for the public? And is that necessary? Well, I'm here to tell you, we used ChatGPT to help with all the promotions for today's educational event. And we are really using it to enhance and streamline the productivity of our nonprofit so that we can do more to serve community members. So we don't have a disclaimer on our documents or materials that ChatGPT was used. I don't feel as the executive director that we need to, because we have human eyes, of course, still on the pre-process, the post-production, before anything goes out to the public, and it's ultimately truthful information about our organization. And
the 4, I think the 4 does have more current information. I can't remember how much more current it is, but I think Tamara is right on that as well.
Excellent. All right. Well, we are now at 12:30. I want to thank you all for being here. If you have never been to an NCW Tech Alliance event, we're committed to doing engaging programming, but to end it on time and respect your time commitments today. Here's the way to reach out to us. Our phone number, website, email, and our physical office is down at Pybus Market inside of the administration building. We'll get to any questions that were left behind from today, send this out along with some additional resources, and be sure to fill out the survey that we'll be sending. Thanks so much for being here.